Hello, I'm Rod Pinkston and welcome to another episode of JAGER PRO. We receive a ton of questions about scouting, the best way to determine the number of pigs on a property, or even how to know how many pigs did this damage. Well, this falls under the category of performing reconnaissance and gathering intelligence, and I'll cover these topics in our basic training segment. I'll also remove 2 sounders from this property at the same time using the most efficient process and products while teaching the art and science of integrated wild pig control. Integrated wild pig control is a strategic approach using a series of innovative control methods and technologies implemented in a specific sequence based on seasonal food sources. Emphasis is placed on efficient removal of entire sounders at one time to eliminate escapes, method education, and future reproduction. Control strategies must continually change throughout the various seasons to effectively target adaptive survivors. Everyone who enters the military must attend 9 weeks of basic training. Now, the purpose of this is so that everyone has the same basic understanding of combat tasks and their performance standards. The purpose of our weekly basic training segment is to ensure viewers receive the same basic understanding of our hog control tasks, methods, and strategies, along with their individual performance standards. These 3-minute training concepts will be viewed in a strategic order of importance so each week may build upon earlier lessons. Then we select closely related conditions from the Flint River project as our main episode. This situational footage helps reinforce the basic training concept we teach each week. This is a reason our show will not be viewed in chronological order of capture. The purpose of performing reconnaissance, recon, and gathering intelligence, intel, is to document exact feral pig populations, pattern their movement, understand their behavior, and select the most efficient control process and product. Each sounder has a unique population dynamic, behavior, and education level. We must establish a baseline population of each individual sounder to effectively measure the performance standard against the control process and product selected. The most practical intel can be provided by landowners, farmers, and hunters currently having a stake in the property management. Use local maps and satellite images to help current stakeholders identify likely bedding areas, establish feeders, natural food sources, travel corridors, choke points, and locations where they have witnessed rooting, crop damage, wallows, and rubs. Hog Control Operators should have enough information to efficiently conduct a personal recon of the property using the map and verbal data collected from the stakeholders. Start with the most likely food or water sources and avoid entering probable bedding areas to prevent disturbing pigs. Walk or drive downwind and parallel to possible bedding areas, looking for well-used trails, rubs, and wallows. There are 17 piglets in this photo, but how many belong to the sow? Video footage produces higher quality intel in a shorter time span than photos. We can easily identify the sow as nursing 3 piglets in the video intel. We can also see she is nervous around the tripod legs and will probably take her longer to be conditioned to the feeder. Position high-definition video cameras along travel routes and potential bait sites to quickly determine the total number of sounders, total population of pigs within each sounder, number of adults versus juveniles per sounder, and the number of adults totally avoiding a bait site or feeder. Only then will we have enough intel and data to select the most efficient people, process, and product to accomplish the stated performance standard of whole sounder removal, expending the least amount of fuel, time, labor, and money. This intel becomes the baseline data for our weekly mission requirements. We must measure our final results against a quantifiable goal to determine mission success or failure and calculate our return on investment. Our Flint River project is 4,800 contiguous acres owned by one landowner. The eastern boundary is high fenced, and the Flint River creates the western boundary. There is an open border between neighboring properties to the north and south. The landowner deploys 50 trail cameras throughout the property, overlooking trough and spin cast feeders. This week's mission will focus on the west central area of the property. The landowner provided us photo intel of 5 black pigs in one sounder and 2 Poland China adults with 2 subadults in a second sounder. I arrived at the bait site during midday to ensure I would not disrupt their evening feeding pattern. A 7-foot-tall T-post was erected 20 feet from the feeder to hold both cameras. T-posts are driven 2 feet into the ground to ensure cameras are positioned at least 4.5 feet in elevation. Cameras are mounted using T-post mounting brackets. Our M.I.N.E camera is always mounted on top because of the cellular antenna. Video camera and battery boxes are mounted immediately below. Cameras are easily aligned using the ball head set screw on the T-post mounting bracket. Receive a test photo to ensure the feeder control box appears at the top with bait centered in the photo. This is the best alignment for maximum motion detection and nighttime photo illumination. Notice the time is 14:09 on 17 March. The pole and china sounder arrives at 1916 and feed for over an hour until 2026. The landowner arrives the next day to fill the feeder. The pole and china sounder arrives 3 hours later at 1939, but photos alone make it very difficult to sex these 4 pigs. A 30-second video allows us to identify an adult pregnant sow, an adult boar, and 2 subadult gilts. They feed until 0:22, then are pushed off the feeder by 2 new pole and china boars. One has a black coat and the other a red coat. Red appears white when using infrared camera illumination. Notice the sounder will not feed while the 2 boars are at the bait site. I always save a photo of adult wandering boars like this for my hit list, which is used to verify identification after harvest. To view the entire 30-minute episode, please tune in to RFD-TV. Our weekly show airs Tuesday nights at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Central, Channel 231 on Dish Network, and Channel 345 on DirecTV. Check with your local cable provider for the RFD-TV channel.